Hello, my name is Steve Herman, and I'm the author of Mediumship Mastery, the Ultimate Guide, available on Amazon. This is my book on mediumship training and development. And the whole purpose of this YouTube channel is mediumship training, mediumship education, development. I'm really into the teaching aspect. So if you're interested in learning about mediumship, if you're interested in understanding more about the mechanics and getting some ideas how to work, please hit that subscribe button below and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I'm going to talk a little bit about mediumship today. And where am I right now? I'm in Florida doing this video at Casadega Spiritualist Camp. Right behind me is Spirit Pond. Casadega is a vortex of energy. It's been used by mediums working with the spirit world when it was established as a spiritualist resort and educational center all the way back in 1894. So the energy here is completely phenomenal when it comes to spirit communication, the residue energy. I love it here. I come here every year. I've been coming here for over 30 years. I teach so many different workshops and work with people. And sometimes we see that mediums have a very closed mentality when it comes to mediumship. Hopefully all of you who are watching this who are mediums don't have a narrow or closed mentality. You don't want to put your mediumship in a box, do you? There's one right way to work. I'm from northern Michigan, and in northern Michigan, we work this way. Has anyone ever told you anything like this? This is the right way to work. So if you're from northern Michigan, I'm actually not from northern Michigan. I'm originally from western Massachusetts. But let's just say I was from Michigan. And in northern Michigan, all the mediums worked a certain way. Consequently, any time that I saw someone deviate from that particular approach of presentation with mediumship, right? How we're presenting it, the material coming through from spirit that we're channeling, that we're bringing through, the content. Maybe I have very strong beliefs that, any kind of reading, any type of communication that comes through, it should contain certain types of information. So when I see anything different, I get completely bent out of shape. And automatically I say, that's wrong. You can't bring through that kind of information. Or look at that medium with how they presented things. That's not the way to do it. Well, if we look at different mediums working, and I travel all over the world, I travel all over the States, I'm a lot of different countries internationally, and we see that how mediumship's presented very much is a reflection of who their teacher is. Oftentimes, you watch the student work, and hey, you can tell exactly who taught them. In different parts of the country, in the States, in the East Coast, it's different than the Midwest, and it's different than the West Coast. It varies between regions. Even when we get into spiritualist churches or centers, it varies with who's running the place. How do they educate their students? Now, what I want to emphasize in this video is there's not one right way to do mediumship in terms of presentation, but there's also not one right way in terms of the content that comes through. And this is a big deal. There's certainly, and I've seen so many mediums work over the years, and there's definitely presentations that are not as professionally performed, if we want to use the word performance when it comes to mediumship, as well as other mediums. There's ways of public presentation with the decorum, public speaking, basic types of skills, which are superior to other ones. But, it's one of these things where if someone gets training in public speaking, a lot of those kinks, a lot of those areas that maybe need improvement can be improved and expanded upon. And people obviously can pick up bad habits too. But it's important as mediums that we recognize just because we've been trained a certain way, you don't want to let yourself be narrow. You don't want to let yourself think that you're superior in the way that you do it. I remember one of my friends who's a prominent UK medium. Anyway, so she trained in Arthur Findlay, in the UK, Arthur Findlay Psychic College, which is a very nice place. There's all residential. You can stay there. You can study all different aspects of healing, spirit communication, spiritualism. You could go there year-round if you could afford it. It's great. And so she was taught, those American mediums, they don't know what they're doing. They're doing it all wrong. I mean, this is what she heard from some of the tutors, some of her esteemed instructors there. This is going back many, 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 many decades ago. So eventually, at some point, she went to the States and she realized, like, wow, what they were telling me, it's not true. Because she started connecting with different American mediums. She probably had some sessions with American mediums. And they were really good sessions. The mediums were very strong, very connected to the spirit world. Now, of course, if you go to the UK, how things are presented are really, in a general, broad sense, different than what you might find overall in the States or Canada or other parts of the world. It depends. It's not that it's better. It's not that it's worse. It's just a different type of approach. Now, when we talk about spirit communication, anytime a communication comes through from the spirit world, a lot of intelligence has gone into that communication. We don't want to limit what we're receiving from the spirit world. And the spirit world, the higher spirits, they set the agenda. Sometimes the session is more for the individual communicating from the world of the spirit. What I really like about seeing other mediums work is you can learn things from how they're working. I mean, even sometimes maybe what you don't want to do. I mean, one of the big emphasis, what I've always placed in terms of my own development, what I teach my students, I really place a lot of emphasis on having a strong connection, the attunement, getting into a very deep altered state and getting out of the way, right? The analytical mind. But what I've also really placed an emphasis on is, say things as a statement. Don't ask all these questions. Now, I just had a reading the other day with a woman here who's from the States, and she would bring the stuff through, and then she would ask me like what it meant to me, and if I could place it. And it wasn't just asking if I could understand it, but it was, who's that to you? Do you know anyone who's, and let's say the name was James. Do you know someone who's a James? Well, I know a lot of James. But really what she was getting was fine. But if she had just worded things as a statement, it would have been, I feel, a little bit more effective. Because certainly if someone is skeptical, what are they going to do? They're going to think, my God, that medium's, they're cold reading. And they're not cold reading. It has to do with presentation. But I want to emphasize, those of you who are mediums, don't be too quick to judge. Don't be too quick to condemn other mediums, how they might be working, how they might be presenting things, or analyzing their messages. Of course, the messages are probably for someone else, and they're bringing the information through. And, oh, that's just horrible. Did you hear what they said? That wasn't evidential at all. And then somehow, in your mind, thinking that it's inferior because of the content, based on whatever your criteria are. Now, that's not to say that everything is, there's definitely mediocre work. As mediums, every single one of us, we can improve. We can work on things. We can become stronger, more vibrant, more fully connected to the world of spirit, and consequently be very efficient and effective vehicles for the higher spirits to work through. Isn't that what we want? What's the purpose? It's to touch people with the light of God. It's to awaken people to who they are as eternal soul. And it's really, there's a vast power. There's a vast plan. There's a vast emphasis from the higher spirits to reach people here in this material world. And we're just playing a small role. We're playing a small part that ultimately we don't necessarily see the full picture, and we don't necessarily know the entire significance of what might take place when we bring through and accurately convey the information that they're impressing our minds with when we do a mediumistic session, or we bring through a greeting or message from the platform in a public venue. So I want to encourage you, think about some of these things I've said. I want to encourage you with your development, please smack the like, smack the subscribe button below. If you have questions about any of this, comments, feel free to add your 2 cents. I'm really into the teaching aspect of mediumship, and certainly I will go out of my way to help you. I have a lot of programs on mediumship, in person, online, worldwide, and the more we can see education take place, different ways of working, learning from each other. Not about this is the way to work. We're not robots. We're instruments for the spirits to express themselves through. We're spirits ourselves too, and there's a bit of the medium in every communication that is conveyed. So thank you so much, and God bless you.